The strongest people are not the ones who never break. They are the ones who learn how to rebuild themselves after every collapse. Emotional strength is not about feeling less. It is about surviving what should have destroyed you and still choosing to move forward. Imagine this. It's 2 a.m. The room is silent, but your mind isn't. You replay conversations that ended years ago. You think about the person who left, the opportunity you lost, the betrayal you never saw coming. The version of yourself that existed before life became complicated. And in that moment, a strange question appears. What if the pain isn't the enemy? Most people spend their lives trying to avoid suffering. They run from rejection. They hide from failure. They distract themselves from loneliness. They build entire identities around protecting themselves from discomfort. Yet the more they run, the weaker they become. Because life has a cruel but profound lesson. The things we avoid often become the things that control us. The ancient philosophers understood this. The Stoics taught that peace comes not from controlling the world, but from mastering your response to it. Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And perhaps that is the secret nobody tells you. Emotional strength is not born on easy days. It is forged in heartbreak, refined in uncertainty, tested in loneliness, and revealed in the moments when you have every reason to give up, but don't. Tonight, we are not talking about becoming cold. We are not talking about suppressing emotions. We are talking about something far more powerful. The philosophy of becoming emotionally strong. A transformation that begins the moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because by the end of this journey, you may realize that every wound carried a lesson, every struggle carried a purpose, and every difficult chapter was secretly preparing you for a stronger version of yourself. And it all begins with one uncomfortable truth. Part 1. The first lesson: stop asking life to be easier. What if the reason you feel emotionally exhausted is not because life is too hard, but because you've been expecting it to be easy? There is a moment that arrives in every person's life, a moment when reality refuses to cooperate with their expectations. You planned carefully, you loved sincerely, you trusted completely, and still things fell apart. This is where many people become bitter. They begin negotiating with reality. This shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have treated me like that. I didn't deserve this. Maybe they're right. Maybe it wasn't fair. But emotional strength begins the day you realize that fairness and reality are not the same thing. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote that the obstacle in the path becomes the path. At first, those words seem impossible. How can betrayal become the path? How can loss become the path? How can failure become the path? But think about it. The strongest tree in the forest is rarely the one protected from every storm. It is the one that survived them. The roots grew deeper because the winds demanded it. Human beings are no different. Many people spend years wishing they had a different past, a different childhood, different relationships, different circumstances. Yet every moment spent resisting reality is energy stolen from growth. Emotionally strong people understand something others don't. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance is clarity. It is looking directly at reality and saying, "This is what happened. I may not like it, but I will not waste my life pretending it didn't." That single shift changes everything. Because when you stop fighting reality, you finally have enough energy to change yourself. And that is where true power begins. Not in controlling the world, but in mastering your response to it. The moment you stop demanding an easier life, you begin becoming a stronger person. And what comes next is even harder. Because once you accept reality, you must face something most people spend their entire lives running from: their own emotions. Part 2. The second lesson. The pain you avoid becomes your prison. The emotion you refuse to feel today may become the burden you carry for years. Most people think emotional strength means not crying, not breaking, not showing weakness, but that is not strength, that is avoidance, and avoidance has a price. Think about a wound on your body. If you ignore it, cover it, and pretend it doesn't exist, it doesn't disappear. It grows worse beneath the surface. Emotional wounds work the same way. The heartbreak you never processed, the rejection you never accepted, the grief you never allowed yourself to feel, the anger you buried because you thought it made you weak. None of it disappears. It simply waits. Waiting for a moment of stress, loneliness, or uncertainty to return with even greater force. This is why some people are haunted by events that happened 10 years ago. The event itself is over, but the emotion was never fully faced. Carl Jung said, "What you resist persists," and few statements capture emotional suffering more accurately. Many people spend years running. They drown themselves in work, in entertainment, in relationships, in endless distractions, not because they are happy, but because silence forces them to meet the parts of themselves they are trying to escape. Yet the strange thing about pain is this: the moment you finally turn toward it, it begins to lose its power. Imagine walking through a dark tunnel. From a distance it looks terrifying. Your imagination fills it with monsters. But when you enter, you discover something surprising. It was only a tunnel, and every step forward brings you closer to the light. Pain often works the same way. The fear of feeling it is frequently worse than the feeling itself. Emotionally strong people understand this. They don't suppress sadness. They experience it. They don't deny fear. They acknowledge it. They don't pretend heartbreak doesn't hurt. They allow themselves to grieve. Because emotions are like waves. Fight them, and they drag you under. Allow them to move through you, and eventually they pass. This does not mean becoming controlled by your feelings. It means refusing to become controlled by your fear of feelings. There is a profound difference. The weak person says, "I never want to feel pain again." The emotionally strong person says, "If pain comes, I know I can survive it." That belief changes everything, because strength is not confidence that nothing bad will happen. Strength is confidence that whatever happens, you can face it. And once you stop running from pain, another truth reveals itself. A truth that transforms ordinary suffering into extraordinary growth. Because some of the greatest transformations in human history were born from moments of deep adversity. The question is not whether suffering will visit your life. The question is what you will become because of it. And that leads us to the third lesson. The philosophy of turning suffering into power. Part 3. The third lesson. Transform suffering into strength. What if the worst chapter of your life is not the end of your story, but the beginning of your transformation? There is a reason why so many of history's wisest people emerged from periods of immense struggle. Not because suffering is beautiful, not because pain is desirable, but because suffering has a way of stripping away illusions. When everything is going well, it is easy to believe we are in control. We become attached to comfort, attached to certainty, attached to the idea that tomorrow will look exactly like today. Then life intervenes, a relationship ends, a dream collapses, a betrayal changes the way we see people, a loss changes the way we see ourselves, and suddenly, the foundations we built our identity upon begin to crack. In those moments, most people ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But the emotionally strong eventually learn to ask a different question. What is this trying to teach me? That single question transforms suffering from an enemy into a teacher. Friedrich Nietzsche famously wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." The meaning of this quote is deeper than most realize. Human beings can endure astonishing amounts of hardship when they believe there is purpose inside it. Think of a blacksmith forging steel. The metal does not become stronger despite the fire. It becomes stronger because of the fire. Without heat, there is no transformation. Without pressure, there is no resilience. Without challenge, there is no growth. And perhaps the same is true for us. The moments that nearly broke you may also be the moments that built you. Look back at your life. Think about a challenge you once believed you could never survive. A heartbreak, a rejection, a failure, a season of loneliness. At the time, it felt unbearable. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. And whether you realize it or not, that experience changed you. Maybe it made you wiser. Maybe it made you more compassionate. Maybe it taught you who truly belongs in your life. Maybe it revealed strengths you never knew existed. This is the paradox of adversity. The experience itself may be painful, but the person it creates can be extraordinary. The philosopher Albert Camus explored this idea through the image of a man endlessly pushing a boulder uphill. At first glance, the task appears meaningless. Yet Camus suggested that meaning is not always found in the outcome. Sometimes meaning is found in the struggle itself, in the courage to continue, in the refusal to surrender, in the decision to keep climbing, despite knowing the climb is difficult. Emotionally strong people understand this. They stop measuring life by comfort. They begin measuring it by growth. They no longer ask, "How can I avoid hardship?" Instead, they ask, "How can this hardship make me stronger?" And when that shift happens, suffering loses its ability to define them because it becomes fuel. Fuel for wisdom, fuel for resilience, fuel for transformation. But there is one final lesson, perhaps the most important lesson of all. Because emotional strength is not just about surviving pain, it is about discovering a kind of inner peace that nothing outside of you can take away. And that is where our journey ends, or perhaps where it truly begins. Part 4. The final lesson, becoming unshakable in an uncertain world. What if true emotional strength is not the ability to control life, but the ability to remain at peace when life refuses to be controlled? Every person eventually discovers a difficult truth. Life is unpredictable. No amount of planning can guarantee that people will stay. No amount of effort can guarantee success. No amount of love can guarantee that your heart will never be broken. The future has always been uncertain. Yet most human suffering comes from our desperate attempt to make uncertainty disappear. We want guarantees. We want promises. We want certainty. We want to know that everything will work out exactly as we hope. But life has never made that promise, and perhaps it never will. This is where emotional strength reaches its highest form. Not when you finally control every circumstance, but when you no longer need to. The ancient philosopher Epictetus taught that there are things within our control and things beyond it. Our actions, our choices, our character. These belong to us. The opinions of others, the behavior of others, the timing of life. These do not. Most people spend their lives exhausting themselves trying to control what was never theirs to control. And in doing so, they neglect the one thing they actually possess, their own mind. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The wind howls. The rain crashes against the ground. The chaos is everywhere. Now imagine a mountain. The storm passes over it. The clouds gather around it. The winds strike against it, yet the mountain remains. Not because it stops the storm, but because it understands its own foundation, that is emotional strength. Not the absence of storms, the presence of a foundation deeper than the storm itself. Many people believe emotionally strong individuals never feel fear. They never feel sadness. They never feel anxiety. But this is a misunderstanding. Emotionally strong people feel everything. The difference is that they do not become everything they feel. Fear visits them, but it does not own them. Sadness visits them, but it does not define them. Failure visits them, but it does not destroy their identity because they understand something profound. They are not their emotions. They are the awareness observing those emotions. The sky is not the storm. The ocean is not the wave. And you are not every passing feeling that moves through your mind. This realization creates a freedom that many people spend their entire lives searching for. A freedom that cannot be purchased. A freedom that cannot be given by another person. A freedom that comes only from within. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. Not because love is wrong, not because ambition is wrong, but because we suffer when we demand that life remain exactly as it is. Everything changes. People change, circumstances change, seasons change, and eventually, we change too. The emotionally strong person learns to flow with these changes instead of fighting them. They learn to hold things gently, to appreciate without clinging, to love without possessing, to dream without becoming dependent on outcomes. And in doing so, they discover something. Extraordinary peace. Not the fragile peace that depends on perfect circumstances, but a deeper peace. A peace that remains even when life becomes difficult. A peace that survives heartbreak. A peace that survives uncertainty. a peace that survives failure, because it is rooted not in what happens around them, but in who they have become within. So perhaps emotional strength was never about becoming harder. Perhaps it was about becoming wiser. Perhaps it was never about building walls. Perhaps it was about building foundations. The world will continue to test you. Some people will disappoint you. Some dreams will not unfold the way you imagined. Some chapters will end before you are ready, and there will be moments when life asks more of you than you think you can give. But remember this: every challenge you have survived has already proven something important. You are stronger than the version of yourself that first entered that struggle. The heartbreak taught you, the failure taught you, the loneliness taught you, the uncertainty taught you, and every lesson left something behind. Wisdom, resilience, perspective, strength. One day you will look back on the chapters that nearly broke you and realize they were quietly building the person you were meant to become. Not despite the pain, because of it. So the next time life becomes difficult, ask yourself, what if this challenge is not here to destroy me? What if it is here to transform me? Because emotional strength is not the absence of suffering. It is the courage to walk through suffering without losing yourself. It is the ability to face uncertainty without surrendering your peace. And it is the decision, repeated every day, to keep moving forward no matter what life places in your path. The strongest people in the world are not those who never fall. They are those who rise with greater wisdom every time they do. And perhaps that person is already becoming you. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect which struggle in your life transformed you the most. Because sometimes the greatest strength we discover is hidden inside the battles we never wanted to fight, and sometimes the obstacle truly becomes the path